How we know
I watched
I
watched a little bit of the Velvet Tip Girls. They were funny.
It was funny, right?
Yeah.
That was my first
Your first go. Yeah.
my first go at Zoom, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then I was just like you know what I mean? They were like, wow, you do pretty good for your first time. You've got lighting, a microphone, headphones. I said, wow, you know.
Yeah, I got my headphones.
I got a great team that helps me. You know what I mean? I'm blessed with that, but I don't really know what I'm doing.
I think Josh is in here.
Yeah?
Says he's Mediblist.
There he is, the man, the myth, the legend. Oh,
whoa, look at that.
How you guys doing?
How's it going? You look like you're ready for the Hollywood story. You look like you're
very well lit.
Oh, thank you. Good to see you guys.
Good to see you.
Wow. Vladimir.
So, welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Happy Munkey Happy Hour. Tonight, we have Tara Misu, founder of Blazin Bakery, and we have our brother from another mother, Josh Tepperberg, the Mediblist.
How you doing tonight?
Welcome, guys.
Hey, happy to be here.
I was telling Tara that I believe you guys met before in the past, right, Josh? Briefly.
Yeah, Tara, I believe we've met at a candy gather or two before in the past.
Okay, yeah, I went to a bunch of them when they were doing in Jersey City. I live there, so that's very possible. Cool. Well, it's good to meet you again.
Yeah.
I just figured, you guys are both in the infusion and the whole, you know what I mean, culinary side of things. I thought it would be a good, combination of all of us talking here.
For sure.
So what's going on, guys? How's quarantine treating you, and how are you still fighting the good fight under these crazy circumstances?
I made cookies last night.
Yeah, seems to be a lot of baking going on these days, huh?
Baking and baking. Yeah. Both.
Tell us in the world a little bit about how Blazin Bakery got started and why you decided to take this journey. I think it was 11 years ago, you said?
11 years ago, 2009.
That's a decade. That's a long time.
Oh my God, it is. It's a lifetime ago.
It's like 70 years in dog years in cannabis, in the cannabis industry.
I love when people say that because it's so true. We do this in dog years. I was with someone who had pancreatitis and he couldn't drink anymore. So I was like in my 20s, I'm like, well, we can't just be sober all the time. So I got really into weed and started trying different ways. And, edibles react differently than smoking. So I got into all different types of extraction methods and I made brownies. And then my friends wanted him and his friends and our friends' friends. And I was like, well, I want to be a brownie drug dealer. But maybe I could build the mousetrap to have people make their own edibles at home. So I started doing a year of R&D on that. I worked with a pastry chef and a food chemist. And we came up with an optimized mix so you can make a high quality edible at home with no experience. I put out a YouTube video and that went kind of viral for the time. It was one of the first on how to make edibles at home. Caught the attention.
So you not only actually provide edibles to companies, you also provide recipes, or or is one or the other?
No, I don't give out the recipe. I have a mix that I sell. It's actually right behind me.
Okay.
So yeah, that was about 1,000 stores. Spencer Gifts picked it up. So that is the make your own DIY mix. I also have a microwave version where you can make a pot brownie in 3 minutes. And then I also sell CBD edibles, and I'm applying for a license, which in the East Coast is not easy. So
trust me.
Yeah, we're all shaking our heads.
Yeah.
But I would love to start making, legal THC edibles any day now. But we'll see. If not, I'm getting ready to pack it up and go to another state. 'Cause I need to start making edibles.
Well, we don't know a date, but we know we're closer than we have ever been.
That is true.
And hopefully after these turn of events, hopefully, it's a wake-up call that the states are just missing out on tax revenue and making it more difficult for consumers to find what they need, whether medically or recreationally.
But we have patients suffering too, we have people who can't get their medicine right now. And there's been a big spotlight on why we need delivery, why we need home grow, why we need more options for people. This is a medicine for, people with epilepsy, end-stage cancer. It's no joke, and we got to fix this.
Yeah.
100%. Now, Mr. Josh, why don't you tell Tara and the world a little bit about how the Mediblist got started and how you took your journey down the culinary cannabis scene?
Well, the Mediblist grew out of the need for there to be a different product on the market. A lot of the infused products out there seem to be a little more based on like a candy or a sweeter, a brownie. A lot more of the traditional infused food. I coming from a more of a chefy background, I had a focus of trying to do regular food. Just
You wanted to do 3-star Michelin infused food, huh, Josh?
even mac and cheese, but it doesn't have to be Michelin star. It doesn't have to be fancy. It's just not everybody, from the medicinal side of life, cannabis is a medicine and food is medicine. And if we're going to be ingesting it, then having the option to eat it in a medicinal way where, some people having something that's sugar-based isn't necessarily something that goes with their diet and their medicinal needs. So being able to switch it up and have it in like a savory dish or, in your salad dressing or just, add it to any regular old meal seems to be a different.
So you want to normalize it in food instead of making it like such a taboo thing, it could just be a part, just like the way you put nutrients and vitamins in food. It would just be, you want to make it seem like an addition in that matter.
Yeah, exactly. Making it I have a medicinal approach to my culinary point of view, and the whole idea is to have your body using your food as medicine. So mixing in cannabis, just if the prescription for what ails you includes cannabis, then mix it into your food, just like you would mix in some ginger, some ginseng, some turmeric,
So, Josh, can I ask you if you've been doing something? Because this one I've been playing with lately. Is that okay, Vlad?
See, of course,
Okay,
that was the
okay.
whole point. But I know that you guys, iron sharpens iron, and I know you guys both are passionate about the things you do in different ways, and I'm sure that there was going to be some synergy there. That's why I got both you guys on here.
Yeah,
Me and
don't get
Josh
me
are
wrong.
We're
Don't get
gonna
me
be
wrong.
best friends.
I love a great brownie, yeah.
No, brownies are awesome. But I totally, I'm with you with that too. It's just, 10 years ago, people, that was, you break in, you had to do something familiar. Yeah. But so what I've been playing with a lot lately, so like I'm an Italian girl, so you know how you get
Italian, Sarah?
Yeah, I'm my last name is not Misu. It's
okay.
It's long in Italian and hard to remember. But so, well, also 10 years ago, my lawyer said, don't use your real name.
It was a different landscape and a different climate.
It was the don't
especially
use your
here
real,
in the East Coast.
Yeah, don't use your real name climate. But yeah, so you take the good Italian bread, dip it in the olive oil. So one thing I've been doing lately is looking at the terpenes. So like say I did a olive oil with a rosemary, lemon, pepper. So that is rosemary, pinene, lemon, limonene, pepper, carotene, caryophyllene. So using, and I have had there's a tasting menu at James Beard House, things like that, where they do. So have you been playing with terpenes at all lately? Because I'm finding that really fun.
I've been playing with terpenes a little less, or if you mean the jarred terpenes.
No, well, trying to find strains. If you get a COA on it, you could check out the profile. But I have the artificial terpenes. That it's more pledgy in food. I don't know. It's not. Yeah.
I find they almost all end up tasting like lavender.
Yeah.
But I would love to be able to play with real terpene more than I can.
Yeah.
So I like to, when I'm doing an infusion, I really don't think that I'm using enough of a material to get the true terpene out of it once I'm infusing it. But sometimes as more of a topical, how you'll use.
Sorry to cut you off, guys, but we need the people to understand out there. A lot of people don't know as much as we all know here that, terpenes are part of the plant that it's not the THC part, it's more of the flavoring cannabinoid part, right? Can you guys elaborate a little bit
Yeah.
about what that is?
Exactly what it is. Yeah, go ahead, Tiara.
Oh, okay. It's essential oils in the plant. So terpenes are available in naturally, like say limonene is from lemons. It's also in wine. So they're flavor profiles. And when we talk about the entourage effect, we have two things. We have cannabinoids and we have terpenes, and they both contribute to what you feel from different strains. So, it's not as simple as indica and sativa. It's, we have these different major and minor cannabinoids, and then the terpenes which support the entire thing you feel.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I just had to make sure, because we're all insiders and we're speaking, but especially here in the tri-state area, we know that a lot of people are far away from knowing what these things are. So I always try to keep it real detailed so people can understand, what we're talking about and why it's important.
Definitely. Thanks.
Awesome.
Now, I want you guys to know this is Happy Hour, Happy Monkey Happy Hour with Vlad. So cheers, because I got some amazing Uptown Haze here, Josh, and I'm about to light up.
Nice.
There you go.
Nice. The piff, as you call it, huh?
The piff. It's the only thing they don't have in the West Coast that we have here, Josh.
Yeah, that's true.
Do you know about this, Tara? The haze?
I don't know. Have I had that there?
So what it is this is like a strain that's local to the East Coast, and they call it Uptown Haze, Piff. They have a lot of different names for it. And it originally started growing like in Miami. And to this day, you can only find it more on the East Coast in New York City, but in California and in the West Coast, they don't have it.
Oh, very cool.
Which is very rare,
I'll have to seek it out. Try it next time maybe I'm up there. Right now, I'm home for Easter, so I'm not doing anything.
By the way, happy Easter, happy Passover, guys.
Yeah.
And that's the whole thing, going back to the terpene, that Uptown Haze, that piff. It's one of those strains that when you open the sack, you know what you have.
Those terpenes hit you immediately.
It hits you. It's,
unmistakable, right?
You know you went north of 110th Street.
You went north of 110th, guaranteed.
That's funny.
It's.
Sarah, so what do you plan on doing now for Easter, and what's going on with Blazin Bakery?
Well, not as much this year. My favorite Easter was 2014, the year Colorado first legalized, and 420 fell on Easter. So it was like just epic. I had little green ears and I called myself the Weedster Bunny. That was a really good one. This year, I'm in quarantine. There's not too much I can do. It's kind of a lot of this virtual. I did 4 podcasts this week. I have more next week. I'm doing a Happy Hour. It's I baked cookies. I put that online. It's all virtual this year.
This is my second virtual experience here. You know what I mean? I'm just getting used to it. It's crazy. Our new reality, right? We used to watch movies, right, guys, about people wearing masks and gloves. It's reality now. We used to watch movies of everything virtual. Reality now. It's like the movies tell us everything.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like a dystopian future that you wouldn't believe a year ago. If they were like, yeah, you're going to be in your house for a month. Awful.
When, guys, I believe it was yesterday, and I somebody from the team, you know who it is, Josh Ralph, you know what I mean? He's the executive producer of the podcast. So I told him, he's got like this 32 millimeter like film camera. So I told him like, we've got to go and take pictures of this. We never might see this again. So we went, Sarah and Josh, at 7 p.m. Friday night, Times Square, Ghost Town, I Am Legend.
Yeah.
Same time, Rockefeller Center, Ghost Town. Radio City Music, Ghost Town. So we captured these things because I told them in our lifetime, we might never see a Friday at 7 p.m. with nice weather that you see this again.
Never.
Dude, don't tell people that was this. Be like, yeah, I bought out Times Square for the day.
Yeah, go see.
I just wanted the picture. Yeah, just wanted the picture.
Set up a little table for 2 and make it a little private dining.
And I can tell you guys that even though it's something that when you see it, it's still a surprise. Yeah. It's like tell you guys, but you go see it and then it's still like, this is for real.
Yeah.
Me being born and raised in Manhattan all my life, I'm like, damn, I never thought I'd see this on a Friday.
If you wanted to propose, I bet you could get the sign real cheap right now. strike deals. Yeah.
So tell us a little bit more, Tara. We ask everybody usually on the show, tell me about your first time that you ever personally fell in love with cannabis, your first experience smoking. So we can see how this romance started.
Wow. Have you ever told this story? I was kind of saving it. But
We want all the stories you never told, Tara. That's the whole point of the happy hour with Vlad. Vlad gets people to say things they don't usually say.
Okay. So the first time I didn't get high. So that was not really a good story. The second time.
But tell me more or less the age so I can have an idea. So
14 maybe?
14. Okay. First time you didn't get high, 14. What was the second time?
14.
Okay.
It was like a week later.
It's okay. I started when I was like 12, 11. Don't worry about it.
There you go. Yeah. So, so the second time I was with my friend and she told me, I forget if it was before or after, but she told me it was like dusted with PCP. And I had never been high before. So I was
That's crazy.
I was really fucked up, but you know, like,
imagine.
But the first time you're high, you like, and I've never done PCP other than that. So I don't know if the first time I was high on weed, if I was high on weed or if I was high on weed and something else, because it's your first experience. You have nothing to compare it to.
Where was it? Tell me what was it rolled in? Was it a joint, a blunt? Walk us through it.
It was in a glass bowl.
It was in a glass bowl.
It was at my high school friend's mom's house. Her parents were at work. We were just behind the house. And I think it was Edison, New Jersey. I went to high school in Edison, so it was somewhere in that area. And I just remember walking around the neighborhood looking at trees, and she just kept being like, "Are you okay? Are you okay?" I was like, yeah, no, great. Like just freaking out in my head. So yeah, I mean I didn't do anything crazy. I was just completely
and when did you after that become like when you said like, oh, this is gonna be a permanent staple in my life that I'm gonna be smoking consistently?
14. No.
You learned early about all these things, huh?
No, I mean not consistently, but like I was definitely the kid in high school, like getting high under the bleachers, going into the woods, like things like that.
Let's bring it around. When was the first time you tried an edible?
Oh, yes, Miss Culinary. When was the first time you tried an edible?
Much older, college.
How was that?
That was really fun. Like that I fell in love with more. Like weed was always like, I don't know. It was fun, but it wasn't like a love affair. But edibles immediately. It was just such a more like, I don't know, different feeling, like that warm body kind of thing. And it lasted longer, and I felt like you could play with the levels more. And people hate this, but I actually
you could dose yourself.
I love the surprise element.
That's one of the things that scare me. That surprise element.
So I have like a little bit of like an adrenaline junkie. So it's like, hey, this could be an adventure. I could see the face of Satan, or nothing could happen. So
it's funny you say that. A friend of mine the other day, he said that he overdosed and took like half of a 500 milligram brownie. Oh my God. And he said, I was praying to the higher power to go.
That's the dose where you wake up the next day.
Yeah. What's this?
That's like a 24-hour experience. Yeah, you wake up and you're like, no, I'm still high.
2 days later.
Josh, so tell us about yours. Tell us about your first time smoking.
I don't know if I could remember my first time smoking.
Give us the first one you can remember.
Oh. Yeesh. That's long time ago.
That's the whole part of the story.
You were like, honestly, I don't think I can remember the first. We have to like.
It don't have to be the first time. First one you remember from that era.
I just remember back then there was a lot of hanging out in the schoolyard and.
Hanging out in the schoolyard, so the magic happens. And what happened there?
So we What can I say? We exact memories that long ago are just hard to think.
I think you're.
All right, so let's go to yours. The same question you asked. The first edible.
Nothing too nothing too crazy to report there.
So how about the first edible?
First edible, that was probably late in high school.
So how did that go?
Back then it was always hit or miss. It was usually nothing other than just, eat a brownie and either feel nothing or eat a brownie and fall asleep. There wasn't
no in between.
No in between, and there wasn't really much else going on in the sea. All anybody ever heard about were space cakes and brownies, and it was, no one really knew much about the science game. So
I got a very important question for both of you guys. I want to know, what do you guys think post quarantine, post all this COVID stuff that's going on, unfortunately? What will you guys think will be the state of the cannabis industry? How will it change? How will it be the same? What do you guys think is going to happen?
You want to start? I'll start.
I'll be real brief. I think it's going to be a lot of status quo for the next year or two. Whatever market you're in right now, I don't see a lot of change happening real soon. I think the industry is going to be backburnered for a little while, and we're going to deal with public health crisis and preparing the country for the not the return to what we were, because that obviously wasn't working, but more moving forward to
the new normal.
The new normal. So unfortunately, I think the industry is going to take a back burner in the meantime, because although we know we could be very instrumental in the rebuild and the forward process,
the masses might not feel the same way.
Yeah, the masses might not.
Powers that be.
Yeah.
So Tara, what is your take on the post-apocalyptic world of cannabis?
It is the apocalypse. First, I want to say I asked. So Vlad said he'd come on my podcast. So we're gonna have that next.
Yes, I'm already signed. I'm already locked in.
Yes, I asked that same question your first time getting high, but I do a little different. I give the person an out. If they don't want to tell their story, I pick a more embarrassing one they have to tell. So yeah, it usually forces them. So save it, but you're gonna have to tell me yours too.
It's all right. I'm ready. I'm an open book, Tara. Don't worry about it.
Good. So post-apocalyptic cannabis, I think we're going to see a couple things. And because I work in activism a lot, and I know New Jersey better than New York. That's where I am. But so we're going to a ballot in November, and that it's still going to move forward. And I think you're going to see it not feel as controversial as it felt. I mean, since then, it's been deemed an essential business. We've talked about medical patients coming out more and more. It's becoming more normalized. And I think the seriousness of how we feel right now, by November, people are going to be like, yeah, weed, whatever, just, yeah, sure. But as far as growth, that's going to be a problem, because we have a round right now for licenses that is caught up in a class action, and it's getting now postponed with COVID to the fall, and they can't do another round till that lawsuit is settled. So we're not going to see a announcement on new licensing till probably like the holidays. So basically, new dispensaries, new licenses is dead in the water in Jersey for 2020. So that's a big holdup, but that's where it'll be.
Well, my opinion, guys, is that I feel like this is a big filter and this is a big ringer, and the industry is going, all the companies, everybody as a whole, the whole industry is going through this filter and through this ringer, and I don't think everybody will come out on the other side, unfortunately. First of all, internally, then from the outside, I believe that, like you guys said, as far as legislation, I think it's going to slow down because it's not going to be a priority. But what I do believe, as far as normalizing, and as far as all the people that don't understand and were against it, I think all that is going to quiet down, because I think this was a good testament that I believe that a lot of people, I think that mental health and the economy is going to kill more people than the virus. And I believe that cannabis helped so many people it's going to be said afterwards that so many people didn't lose their mental health because of cannabis during this isolation time. So I think that's going to be the pros and the cons to it. Like you said, it's going to get pushed back legislatively, but as far as like normalizing, I think it's going to move forward a lot. Like as far as like society as being more accepted.
And I think it's going to get more respect too for realizing it's recession proof. People now are seeing like, oh, what survived? And there will be businesses that don't, and that people are turning it, like you just said, for mental health. CBD sales have gone up. Cannabis sales, I don't know, but I'd imagine, dispensaries have 2-hour waits because it's, we're trapped in the house. I need to relax. I have anxiety. And there you go.
What do you think, Josh?
I see all the news reports about the sales and how numbers are up and everything, and I see the movement's never going to stop. It's going to keep on moving forward. But I like New York, the government took it out of our budget. They just don't have time for it right now. So I see there might be more of that. Like if they had left it in, it might have slipped through because nobody cares. You're right, but they took it out, so somebody cared about something.
They cared enough to take it out, huh, Josh?
Oh my gosh, Jersey finally gonna beat New York? We've been neck and neck for like so long.
I just feel like, I'm gonna tell you something about that, guys. I want to know your opinion on this. I feel like the tri-state area, like not officially, like it's all like a magic string behind it all, because I feel like if any of it goes before the other ones, I feel like it's too much of a domino effect. So I believe that when it happens for one, it's going to happen for all.
Yeah.
Or at least close to each other.
Close to each other, exactly.
They were trying to do that Northeast like union thing where we all did it together. I was like, we can't even get our shit together in like one of them. It's not gonna happen. That was craziness. But yeah.
So what do you guys think currently with what's going on? Let's talk about some other stuff. Like right now, I've been watching my friend Steve D'Angelo with Last Prisoner Project, how at least, a lot of people that are arrested for cannabis and non-violent crimes since the COVID has been going into jails, they're finding ways to release them early, and they're doing a lot of positive things when it comes to that, because this unfortunate incident is bringing a lot of that to the light. Like this person's doing this ridiculous amount of time for cannabis and all these kind of things, where now, because unfortunately COVID is going in there, they have to like start, taking some action, because it's kind of ridiculous.
Yeah, I mean I think that's awesome. It's oh, okay. I just got an alert. Sorry. Yeah, I think it's awesome. We've been fighting really hard for expungement, getting that in the bill. We've been fighting hard for lowering arrests. 94 people a day are arrested in Jersey for cannabis. Minorities at 3 times the rate of white. So it's a big issue when people don't even think this is still happening. They're like, no one gets arrested for weed anymore. Yes, they do. There was that kid in New York recently who got thrown to the ground and like beat on by cops. Like it's for real. So I do think this is gonna, again, like I said, minimize how serious people I think it is. And I think we just have bigger concerns now than cops aren't wasting their time beating kids up over a small amount of weed. So I think it's gonna get better.
What do you think, Josh?
I think, I mean, it has gotten a lot better. The cops in the city are definitely more tolerant. They, at least in Manhattan, they are. They still are messing up a lot in the outer boroughs. Like South Queens is disgusting. Parts of downtown Brooklyn, the cops are still, acting like they always have. But the social acceptance, it's been deemed essential. So hopefully after the crisis is over, people will recognize how essential it is.
It's funny that you mentioned that essential part. I was looking at a meme on social media, and it says, how are you gonna feel? You're doing life in prison or 20 years in prison for cannabis, and you see some corporate people open when everything is shut down, deemed essential. What bigger hypocrisy of the democracy than that?
What kills me too is those people in those corporations 6 months ago were like selling insurance or something. Like they're not even people who are like, yeah, you know what, I put in the work, I got here. You know, it's people who just said, oh, green rush, let me swoop in. And it's just another trend, and then they'll move to the next thing. And it's the people who really were out there, you know. I don't know how long you've been in this, Josh. I know me and Vlad have been doing it a long time. And so
Josh
many
has been in it probably longer than us. Josh has been like a activist hippie for like 20, 30 years. Come on, Josh, you gotta speak up. I can't be speaking for you.
I've been an activist for a while. Yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah, don't. I'll just keep talking. Shut me up. Talk over me. You gotta get in there.
I thought we were here to talk about kitchen stuff. I'm sorry.
Oh.
Hey, listen, man. On the Happy Hour, we talk about everything: the kitchen stuff, the current stuff, the past stuff, and the future stuff.
Man, I talk about cannabis in my sleep. There's nothing I can't talk. But yeah, we can talk more food.
No. Politics is fine.
I don't even remember what I was saying, so it's fine.
So yeah, no, we were talking about that. You know how now, you know, things are changing, and I was saying about the Last Prisoner Project that, you know, that unfortunately because COVID got in there, that they're helping people that are incarcerated for cannabis get released early, and it's happening a lot more than it did before COVID because of this unfortunate situation, and it's bringing light to the fact that there's people in there that, you know, shouldn't be in there, you know, especially that already served a lot of time.
Yeah, I mean, if we can get people out that shouldn't be in there, then whatever the reason, whatever the
exactly, it's like I'm an optimist. I'm looking at the silver lining out of all this unfortunate situation. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Yeah, you gotta. Can't just, you know, you'll get depressed just looking at all the terrible things because
exactly.
Yeah. I mean, look at our planet. It's the air hasn't been this clean in weeks.
Ironic, and you can't go outside.
Right.
It's funny you say that. Like, I went in front of my building, I live by the river, and I never seen so many ducks and swans and things like that ever since I've been living there. And it's like you said, like, unfortunately, you know what I mean, for a bad reason, but we're giving Mother Nature and Mother Earth a break. Probably that well-needed one.
Yeah.
It's almost like we should shut all the factories down for a month every year just to give the planet a break.
Yeah, we know that'll happen, but it's happening now.
Yeah, or they're more likely to get the purge out of all this.
So what do you two guys have up and coming now? How has this situation, because, you know, pressure either makes diamonds or bust pipes. So like, as far as like both you guys, like as far as your business, how have you had to change and adapt in this new quarantine virtual climate?
Go ahead.
Okay. I feel like I always start trying to be polite. So I've just been really taking more risks, you know, doing things more online. I think so many times I get caught up just doing the work in life that I kind of put social media and the podcast and things like that second. So I've been really using this as an opportunity. Like every day I'm just, you know, cranking out graphics and learn how to video edit and just doing all that stuff. And one thing I started recently is I got into dog treats. So I started, CBD dog treat line. So Blazin Bakery is my main brand. Blazin Bakery is my dog's brand.
Blazin Bakery.
Yeah.
I like
Thank you. So my Chihuahua Diablo is my business partner in that. And I just made him his own Insta, so I'm gonna make him a dog on Instagram.
So he's about to go viral.
He is. He's gonna be a famous Chihuahua. People like him more than me. But yeah, so that's what I've been doing. I've just been trying to get online presence. I fixed up the website. I'm expanding product lines, doing graphics.
So this is what I believe, like, you know what I mean? So like basically, you know, you had to get more creative, right? So that means when this is all said and done, you have all the things you used to do, all the skills you used to have, plus the new ones that you had to kind of come up with to adapt to the new climate now.
Yeah.
How about you, Mr. Josh? How is the Mediblist adapting to the virtual world, and how is he pivoting to keep the mission going forward?
You know me. I'm just not doing much, keeping focus on my recipe development and working on really just refining some of the products that I work on currently. You know, I'm always in the refining mode. So right now, just gives me a chance to. It's almost like a chance to get back to basic skill sharpening, and taking the time to go over and make sure that I'm you know, crossing all my T's and dotting my I's, and making sure that my recipes are on point, and my weights and everything, and my measurements and everything are ready. So when it, you know, because when New York is ready to move forward, I need to be in position then to be able to upscale a business. So right now it's the quiet is kind of a nice time to be able to build the foundation a little stronger, and get my you know, just like that, just, you know, get the temper on the chocolate perfect, you know.
No, of course, because that's what I feel like. I feel like when this is all over, post quarantine and post COVID and all this stuff, I think that there's gonna be like some of the most creative things ever in history are gonna pop up, for the simple reason that, you know what I mean, before this happened, you know, everybody was so go. Everybody was such a multitasker. Nobody, like you guys just said, was giving the undivided attention to specific things. So I think giving this time to humanity and to society, like to people really focusing and honing in on certain things, is gonna create some magical stuff in the future, because with the whole hustle and bustle, everybody juggling 1,000 things, it wasn't possible before.
Yeah, for real. I mean, I'd never had any time. It's amazing to have free time. Josh, you should hop on Thursdays at 7 o'clock. I do a happy hour, and I did quarantine brownies. So I did like a cooking one, and so it was like people sharing recipe and extraction tips. I'd love to have you join one week.
Yeah, definitely.
There you go, Mr. Josh. You gotta spread the knowledge that you've been withholding to the world.
Digital is new for me, so.
What?
I said digital is, I'm new at the whole digital world, so.
Well, you look great tonight. I'm the only one with
the
rookie background.
I'm not lying. Like, you look like you're ready for Hollywood, man. I said the same thing Sarah said. I was like, oh man, that boy came out sharp.
I have professional help. My wife's a genius, so.
Well, you got great help, man. You came out looking like a superstar. But yeah, definitely, man. I think that right now, you know, unfortunately, we got to keep the good fight going through, no matter what, even if it's virtual, through media, through phone, or however, because it's just like we all have come so far. We got to keep it, you know, we got to keep fighting the good fight regardless of what the obstacles are, because it's just like we're all like pot committed at this point as far as like time and effort, and the industry's come so far, the movement's come so far. Now it's like, I feel like, you know what I mean? Like through this virtual thing, like I said, you know, it's gonna make everybody craftier and have to, you know, put their 2 cents. And I think it's gonna make everybody have to work together, which us three know is not the strong point always of this industry. So now I feel like it's gonna unify it more, because that's the only way it's gonna stay alive.
But you know what? The industry is breeding that here, because they're making it so competitive for these licenses, for everything. They're making it like a cutthroat bloodbath. You know, aside from the history, like the history that it came from was already a little like not so polished. And now they're pitting us all against each other. So it's like, yeah, of course it's going to be crazy. So.
But I feel like this time right here, because of these unfortunate circumstances, like, without us doing what we're doing right now, without people really collaborating and really, you know, unifying, it's like, it's gonna really, like, right now, more than ever, create more unity, because it's the only way that our voices are already hard to get heard before this. So with this, we gotta scream even louder.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Well, things like this are great, you know, it's especially people cooped up now, Saturday night, everyone's like, going out of their minds. So thank you for doing this.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
No, of course, man. This is gonna be a new segment now I'm creating, because I thought about it. I said, you know, I have so many friends from all over the industry, all over the country, and all over the world. Like, you know what I mean? We might as well still, you know, update each other on what we're all doing, and, how we're adjusting, and you know what I mean, and still, like I said, we gotta still keep the good fight going, because it's just like, even though it's unfortunate circumstances, we still gotta push forward, and we still gotta shine light on each other and make sure that we're all staying on track.
Yeah, like the one thing I do think this is making me and probably other people is think more globally, because normally you get very caught up in your own East Coast, New York, New Jersey network. Now it's just as easy for me to talk to anyone anywhere in the world. It's a completely level playing field. I can't meet anyone in person. So now I'm just like, well, it's the same if I get to hang out with my neighbor or someone in California. It's the same hang. So might as well diversify. Yeah.
Definitely. I think it's like I said, it's a time where diversity and the unity is really going to show. And like I said, this is just a small part of it. Everybody's doing virtual stuff now. And like I said, we just gotta, prepare for the worst, hope for the best, and, continue trying to be positive and optimistic, because, I see a lot of people come on here and talk about the doom and gloom and all that stuff. And it's like, it's 24-hour news outlets that are already making people feel bad. I don't want to use my media platforms to put people down. I want to uplift people. I want to remind people of great times. I want to highlight the positives instead of making people feel worse than they already feel. Guys?
Yeah,
for sure.
That's what it's supposed to be about.
Exactly, especially cannabis. Like I said, a lot of people, I'm 1,000% sure, like I mentioned earlier, are not losing their mental health because of cannabis. So now, that's like the whole premise of it, to everybody to, be in a happy place, to be, medicating themselves. So how are we going to use our platforms for doom and gloom when the news does that?
Yeah.
For sure.
There's so much negativity out there. We're here to take time away from that.
Exactly. Well, guys, I want to thank you guys for coming on. I always have $1 million question. I got one for each of you guys before we get out of here. First, you, Tara, if you had to describe Happy Munkey, the brand, the movement, the place, anything you know about it in one word, what would it be and why?
Historical. Because I believe when we look back at cannabis legalization, when our kids or our kids' kids are going to look back the way we look at Prohibition and Al Capone and, the early bootleggers, people are going to look at Happy Munkey like this was like this speakeasy rebel, all the forefathers of the cannabis movement. That's where they got together, and they were the freedom fighters who fought to get this legal in our state. And I think it's going to be a historical moment in time. All these, things that we're taking for granted, us just hanging out, I think people are going to look back at it and say, wow, they really did something.
Thank you for those kind words. Make blush. How about you, Mr. Josh?
Well, I've always
kind of biased, but I want to hear yours.
I've always thought of it as a community. It's a place where people place is wrong. It's a mindset that people have adapted, where there's a certain communal feeling that runs through people that know about it. And for those of people in the know, when you mention it to them, they'll get a little.
It's a good. It brings back good memories.
A little wink, wink. So there's that that sense of belonging and everything. So it's besides everything else, it's a community.
Yeah.
Thank you for those kind words, brother. That makes a lot of sense. So both of you guys, before we get out of here, tell people where to find you guys, what you got upcoming, anything you want them to look out for.
You could find me on social on Blazin Bakery, almost everywhere, Blazin Bakery. And then Misu, otherwise, if I'm not. You could buy my products, everything you see up there, as well as the Blazin Bakery ones, blazinbakery.com. And finally, I have a podcast available everywhere, Trailblazin with Tara.
Which Vlad will be coming soon. So
Which Vlad? Yes, make sure you check out the Vlad episode. It's going to be amazing, I'm sure. Yeah, so that's it. And yeah, thank you guys.
How about you, Mr. Mediblist?
So exactly, you can find me on Instagram at the Mediblist. That's it, at the Mediblist. And you can find me at all the Happy Munkey events.
There you go. It's easy to find him. Both you guys, man, I want to thank you, man. You guys could be anywhere in the world, but you're here with me virtually. Thank you for joining us on our second episode of Happy Munkey Happy Hour with Vlad. I appreciate you guys always believing in me and the movement and taking your time to, rock with me. I appreciate you guys.
Thank you so much, Vlad. This is awesome.
So everybody out there and you guys, much love, peace, love, and happiness. Remember, you're too blessed to be stressed. Peace.